Thank you. Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? Okay. So today I wanted to talk about one of the hot topics, which is ChatGPT, and I wanted to uncover the black box on how it works. As I'm currently working in the machine learning industry, I thought it's sort of very interesting, and everybody should sort of get into this field, which is why I'm here today. So, my table of contents. So first, I want to make an initial introduction. Okay, in case you've been living under a rock, what is ChatGPT? So you can think of it as very similar to the internet, where it has lots of information, right? It's sort of read millions of books, it's read millions of articles, right? And it understands everything. But most importantly, it seems like it understands human language, right? And that's what's so significant about it, right? So you can ask it, for example, what are the implications of deforestation on global diversity? I don't know what that means. I think I knew in like 9th grade, not anymore, but ChatGPT is able to understand exactly what I said, then output the answer, right? Deforestation has significant implications for global diversity. One of the primary consequences is habitat loss, right? So how's it able to understand my human language, right? So that's what I sort of want to uncover today. In fact, it's actually a lot more than just what the internet can do, right? Just a lot more than just like searching information, right? You can, I'm sure many high schoolers know that you can write essays and summarize text, right? So you don't want to listen to your 2-hour-long lecture. Okay, summarize it for me, please, right? Or you can answer math questions. It's fairly good nowadays. I think they got like a 760 on the SAT math section. So that's like pretty good, right? It can generate images. I'm sure you guys have heard of AI art and all the controversial stuff going on over there. And you can create chatbots and cobots, right? So there's endless possibilities. And current researchers, including me, are sort of finding use cases on where this large language model is usable, right? Okay, so how does it work? And today I'm going to try to explain it without linear algebra. Unfortunately, for people who do not like math, it is like 95% math, but I will not talk about the 95%. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, this is one important concept I want to understand. It's generating one word at a time. Now, what do I mean by that? So imagine you've read like millions of books, websites, what I just said, right? You've scraped Reddit, every single instance of Wikipedia page, and you've given a sentence, right? And what is the most likely next word? Okay, that is what ChatGPT is basically trying to predict, right? It's basically making that calculation. So for example, in this case, somewhere over the, what is the most likely next word? It's probably going to be rainbow, right? So there's a 56% chance it's rainbow. There's also a 20% chance it's bridge. I completely made up these numbers, so don't trust those. But that's sort of the idea, right? But more specifically, it's what's called a token, right? It's not a word. And a token can be half a sentence, a full sentence, half a word, a word. It can be like a period, for example, right? So it's just the most likely next token. And that's what it's doing. So it's basically reading literally everything it's trained on, which is, you can think of it as every Wikipedia page, and what is the most likely next word that comes next, right? So that's what it's outputting. So what if we have this notion of, okay, let's just pick the highest probability every time, right? So this is the example I made with a model I downloaded off of Hugging Face, where I just chose the most likely word every time, right? So the best thing about, okay, so what is the most likely next word? It turns out it's this. The best thing about this is that it is a good game. And I don't think it will be a bad game for me to play again because I'm not a fan of the game. Well, this is garbage, right? This is very bad, right? This is not what ChatGPT does at all, right? Or like, it doesn't look like a ChatGPT. This is like maybe my middle school essays, right? It looks like this, right? Okay, this sucks, right? So let me introduce this other idea, which is called temperature. Now, what is temperature? Temperature is just how often I pick the highest percentage. If I have a temperature of 0, that's just what I just did. I picked the highest percentage every time. So that might be useful, for example, a math problem where you need everything to be correct, right? But if you're trying to do creative writing, which is what I was just trying to do over there, you're going to get very bad results, right? You're going to get run-on sentences, non-grammatically correct. So this idea is that the best thing about it can be many things, right? So it can be this, Disneyland, the day, myself, right? And then you see it'll sort of branch off exponentially, right? And what could it be? So when the temperature is 0, I'll only get this top branch, which is the best thing about this is that, and then it is a good game. Yeah, it's very bad, right? So this idea of temperature, so what if we randomize the temperature when we pick the next word, right? Same model, but with less temperature. The best thing about the day is the time you can spend with the person and people you meet. The people around you are so friendly to each other so that you don't feel like you're missing out and not having to do it. It's better, right? But it's not great. This is not what you get from ChatGPT, right? I mean, you see like very awkward sense, like you spend time with the person and the people, right? I mean, if you're, I guess, more linguistic, you would never say that, right? Because it's sort of, But at least it's grammatically correct. There's a period now, right? It's better, but it's still not great, right? So this is the last idea I want to mention, which is called attention. And this is sort of like the big new idea on why ChatGPT sort of outperforms every other language model before it. Well, first of all, it's large, right? So like I said, it reads like millions, billions of things. But attention, this notion of attention. So what is attention? Transformers, which is the things that use attention, are the idea of every token having the notion of attention. And what is this notion of attention? Tokens pay attention to other specific important parts of the sentence, right? And that's represented as weights. So what does this allow for? This allows for context, right? So for example, this example here, the gazelle drank water when it was thirsty, okay? Now, when you shows up okay, what is it? It's the gazelle, right? So it'll have a lot of weight on the gazelle, right? Or thirsty. What was thirsty? It was thirsty, okay? So it has a lot of weight to it. But what was it? It was the gazelle, right? So you have this like 3 weights. Now imagine this 400 layers of weights, trillions of parameters, and you get what ChatGPT is, right? So it's very complicated, right? And every single, I guess, relationship will be shown up as some sort of weight, right? And in the end, you'll get, for example, thirsty, it pays attention to it, gazelle, and drink water, because you drink water when you're thirsty, right? So you get this idea. So finally, the last example is I want to show what happens when I turn on my language model with this idea of transformers. This is just a very basic one I got off Hugging Face. This is not ChatGPT level caliber, like big. But you'll see the best thing about exploring new places is the sense of discovery and opportunity to immerse yourself in different cultures and experiences. This is way better, right? I'm taking this sentence when I write my essay next time, right? This is a great sentence. And you can see it continues to be great, right? So this is the idea of what ChatGPT is sort of doing. It's sort of combining all 3 of these ideas, and you get this nice essay, right? And it's sort of unlocked the pattern of the human language, if that's even possible, right? It's sort of understood, okay, this is how English language is supposed to be written, and you get sentences that are like this, which are great. And I assume if you type into ChatGPT, you'll get a better sentence, right? Because this is just like a mini model, right? That I like got off. Sadly, I cannot download ChatGPT on my computer because it would break my computer. But this is way better, right? That's the point. Okay. What about modern information? Now, I'm sure many of you guys have heard ChatGPT, it's only trained in 2022, right? Before 2020. So big problem is you can't get modern news, right? Trump, there was an assassination attempt. You won't be able to get that from the LLM, right? So how does it deal with that? So, for example, I ask it, what planet has the most moons and how many does it have? This, I actually queried ChatGPT like 2 weeks ago. So this is like very recent stuff, okay? And it says, as of the latest information, very confidently it says it's correct, right? As of the latest information, Jupiter has a record for the most moons, right? Jupiter has 95 confirmed moons. That's a lot of moons, right? This is, however, very wrong. One Google search, you'll realize this is wrong because the number of moons a planet has sort of increases over time. And I think in 2023, there was like a huge spike in Saturn moons. So now Saturn has the most moons, so it's 146. Right? So this was literally me 2 weeks ago, right? So how does it sort of solve this problem? It uses what's called retrieval augmented generation. Now this is RAG for sure. This is a very fancy name, but what it actually does is you can think of it as letting the large language model do a Google search. Then taking the top 5 links of the Google search, then putting it into its prompt. Okay, so let's say, I say what planet has the most moons? How many does it have? I Google it. Okay, then I take the top 5 links, which are from like NASA or like great sources, right? And be like, okay, Saturn's most, Saturn's most, Saturn's most. Then large language model, okay, we'll be able to learn from this new text, right? Then it'll be able to output, okay, the planet with the most moons is Saturn, with a total of 146 moons. Now the difference between this prompt and the previous prompt was I simply just said, please use RAG, okay, in the LLM, right? So it's able to, okay, let me use it, and it's able to output the correct information, right? So this is sort of the idea. In reality, it's obviously not a Google search. It's what's called a vector database, but that's like a lot of math that I don't want to talk about. But this is sort of like the idea of how you get this very robust, very nice model that you can use to cheat on your homework. Okay, closing remarks. I went a bit quick, but I wanted to say a few things about large language model because I know many people are sort of fearing this AI revolution. And I just wanted to say I've always thought of large language models as the computer, right? So I think it was the chairman of IBM in 1942 or something said, I think the world only has space for 5 computers, okay? We look back at this guy, okay, this guy's kind of an idiot, right? 5 computers, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this room, right? So I think it's going to be sort of like a tool in 5, maybe even 10, maybe even 5 years, right? Where sort of everybody has to use this large language model to your advantage, right? And if you don't use it, you'll fall behind. Imagine you live in the modern day without a computer, right? You'd obviously fall behind in lots of things, right? Education, for example, right? So this is sort of the idea I wanted to push. So I would say, don't be scared. Get used to using it, right? And you're going to use it a lot more in the future. Thank you.
Good job. Does anyone have any questions for Jesse? No?